He has been the Cowboys head coach since halfway through the 2010 season. He's Jason Garrett. Moments ago on the field with Michelle.
Well, Coach, Dak Prescott is coming off his least productive game of the season and really facing the first adversity of his as an NFL starter. What gives you the confidence that he'll bounce back tonight?
Dak just handled everything so well since he's been with us. He's had some success. He's had some adversity. He just comes to work every day. He's focused on what he needs to do. He's going to do a good job for us.
You have faced some tough defenses the last couple weeks in Minnesota and then the Giants. Tonight, it's a Buccaneers defense that's been the best in the league in their 5-game win streak. For your offense to have success, what do they need to do?
Yeah, the biggest thing, we just have to focus on us. We want to be a balanced team. We want to be a physical team. Starts with running the football. We want to attack them different ways. Our focus is on us, not on them.
Thanks very much, Jason.
All right.
And the Cowboys tonight are without 2 defensive linemen in DeMarcus Lawrence and Cedric Thornton. The Buccaneers are without starting right tackle DeMar Dotson. He'll be replaced by Gosder Sherrillis, but they do get back wide receiver Adam Humphries and safety Chris Conti.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Jason Garrett, head coach at Dallas. Dirk Cutter is the rookie head coach, first-year head coach, Tampa Bay. Dallas on top. Giants win again today. They're 10-4, so breathing down Dallas's neck. Atlanta at 9-5 beat San Francisco. Tampa Bay is 8-5, and New Orleans, they won it today over Arizona. So there are the standings up to the minute. Roberto Aguayo, who was their second-round draft choice, and he's had a spotty season, so the rookie from Florida State will kick off. Lucky Whitehead, who was left home last week, had missed some meetings and was late, so he did not play in the game at the Meadowlands, but he is back this week. Cowboys won the toss and elect to receive. So as usual, a crowd of more than 90,000 at AT&T Stadium ready, and away we go on Sunday Night Football. From the 1, Lucky Whitehead. Up to about the 24-yard line. A little pushing and shoving going on. And the Dallas Cowboys come out, and let's meet their offense.
Dak Prescott, Mississippi State.
Ezekiel Elliott, the Ohio State.
Dez Bryant, Oklahoma State.
Terrence Williams, Baylor.
Cole Beasley, SMU.
Jason Witten, Tennessee.
Tyron Smith, USC.
Ronald Leary, University of Memphis.
Travis Frederick, Wisconsin.
Zach Martin, Notre Dame.
Doug Free, Northern Illinois.
There is Elliott, leads the league in rushing by plenty. Almost certainly to win the rushing title. It starts right here by picking up about 5, thrusting to the 29-yard line. So Prescott, and most of you know the story by now, picked in the 4th round out of Mississippi State, 8th quarterback drafted, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, with 2 of them coming in the game last week against the Giants. From the gun now on 2nd down and 5. Looking over the middle, throws to Bryant, and Dez Bryant is able to pick up the 1st down up to the 35-yard line. For Bryant, missed some early action this season with a knee injury. He would be their 3rd leading receiver at the moment. That's his 39th catch. Beasley is the leader at 64 catches, and Jason Witten, the tight end, has 56. And last week, as you can see, 9 times Prescott went to him, but he was able only to catch 1 ball and had that big fumble toward the end of the game. 1st down from the 35-yard line. Elliott again. A little move to the outside, started through the middle and went between the guard and the tackle for a gain of 8.
One of the things that Tampa Bay is a bit concerned about is they're a little undersized at the linebacker position, and this big Dallas offensive line is going to have the ability to step up, and if they can get through to that 2nd level, do some damage back there. The Bucs would rather play a bit of a speed game from that linebacker position. Feeling is the Cowboys probably coming right down their throats.
2nd and 3 from the 42-yard line. And Prescott throwing to the outside, and that's a 1st down. Terrence Williams makes the catch, and we'll take a look at the Buccaneer defense.
William Golston, Michigan State.
Gerald McCoy, Oklahoma.
Clinton McDonald, University of Memphis.
Rob Ayers Jr., Rocky Top University.
Quan Alexander, LSU. Devontae David, Nebraska.
Vernon Hargraves, Florida.
Keith Tandy, West Virginia.
Bradley McDougall, Kansas University.
Brent Grimes, Shippensburg University.
Javian Elliott, Florida State.
And he'll be a man in the crosshairs tonight. Lucky Whitehead is in the slot to the left side on first down. Big hole for Elliott, and then he leaps for another 4 or 5 yards for a first down. He says, feed me, feed me. They'll probably do that all night. Gain of 13.
They're going to go big power here. They're going to come across and just start playing power football, down blocking on those defensive linemen. You got Witten, you got Leary, he goes, and Doug Free coming across there, and here goes the hurdling machine. I don't think he thinks there's any hurdler or any tackler he can't hurdle out there.
Great in high school, track star there. Star in the hurdles. Darren McFadden is in the game. First time he's been active this season. And the catch is made here by Des Bryant. That's a gain of 8. So a good-looking opening drive for the Cowboys, who won that toss and said, give us the ball. And right now, so far, so good at 2nd down and 2.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting, didn't you? That everybody's deferring these days, but all the talk and all the noise about all the struggles on the Dallas offense. And there's Mike Smith, whose defense has been simply sensational. So far in this one, they have been rocked back a bit.
2nd down and 2. Cowboys haven't even gotten to a 3rd down. That's been the bugaboo this season for them. A little toss here goes to Elliott, and Elliott will pick up the first down. So they keep the chains moving, and then a flag comes in, our first of the game. And I think this one, the initial indication is against Dallas, and that's going to negate what would have been a first down. Terry McCauley is the referee.
Holding, offense number 16. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's Vince Maley, and that cost them a first down, moves them back.
Yeah, he kind of got caught and just run over and looked like he tackled him. But this was why they were struggling now on 3rd down. It wasn't so much that they didn't have great plays, but they would get backed up. And sometimes they were in 3rd down and 12 and 3rd down and 15. And Jason Garrett saying, hey, I don't care what's going on out there. You're not going to convert many of those, even with Scott Linehan's terrific offensive line.
Linehan, a few years back, head coach of the St. Louis Rams. Done a masterful job as the Cowboys OC. Let's see what he calls in here on 2nd down and 11. Bucs rush 4. Look out. Prescott cannot slip away, and he's going to go down at the 45-yard line, and some more pushing and shoving going on. Noah Spence, a rookie out of Eastern Kentucky, came flying in for the sack.
Here comes the speed off the edge. This is exactly what they got Noah Spence for. And right now you're starting to see the Buccaneers and their pass rush come to life, in part because of Noah Spence, but I think in bigger part because Robert Ayers got healthy again. He was out from week 3 to week 7. He's been back. Now they have 3 terrific pass rushers on the inside, including Gerald McCoy.
3rd and 17. The Cowboys are 2 for 24 on 3rd down over the last couple of weeks. Of course, a lot of them have not been 3rd and 17. But let's see what is forthcoming here. Over the middle, the catch is made. That's Witten, but well shy of the first down. Jason Witten makes his first grab of the night. That gets it to the 38-yard line. Bailey is capable of kicking a 55-yard field goal, but you want to bring him in here.
Yeah, as long as 56. And it looks like he may get a shot.
Well, you've got the perfect conditions with the roof closed. And they will spot the ball at the 46. So a 56-yard field goal to try to give Dallas the lead. Chris Jones to hold.
First charge timeout, Tampa Bay.
And
30-second timeout.
Buccaneers take a timeout, 30-second timeout. There is the first-year head coach Dirk Cutter. He was their offensive coordinator, and their defense, of course, since week 10, when you take a look at that 5-game winning streak, held Seattle to no touchdowns and 5 points. New Orleans last week, 11 points. 21 San Diego rang up on them, but they won the game. 14 takeaways, so that's almost 3 per game. And the opponent's passer rating is 62.5, and that's been the lowest in the league over the past 5 weeks. And Mike Smith was the head coach of Atlanta when Cutter was the offensive coordinator there. So these roles are now reversed, with Dirk as the head coach, Mike is the defensive coordinator, and now Bailey attempting a 56-yard field goal. And Dan Bailey's kick is going to be short. Online, but not enough. And that will give Tampa Bay the ball for the first time in very decent field position. 9:46 left in the opening quarter. 0-0. Well, that's about as good a practice facility as you will ever see. The world headquarters of the Cowboys, 91-acre site in Frisco, Texas. We've been to them all, and, well, that went right to number 1. Now, the first play of the game offensively for Tampa Bay is an incomplete pass intended for Luke Stocker. Jameis Winston, second year, won the Heisman Trophy as a freshman at Florida State. 23 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So a good ratio there, rating close to 90. Very good. And he's played every game since he was drafted number 1 last year. And they hand the ball off to Doug Martin. And Martin coming back from a hamstring injury after he had missed a good part of the season, back to being their number 1 running back. Barry Church makes the tackle. It's 3rd down and 2.
There we go. Gosder Sherrillis, who's filling in for DeMar Dotson at that right tackle position. Nicely done. And that is what this Buccaneers offense has sorely missed. Some big runs out of Doug Martin, averaging just 3 yards a carry.
3rd and 2. Winston hangs in the pocket, goes deep downfield, contact made, flag thrown. And that's going to be your primary matchup tonight. You got Mike Evans against Brandon Carr. And this one's going to go against the Cowboys.
Pass interference. Defense number 39. Automatic first down.
It's what you fear when you play Mike Evans. It just turns into a basketball rebounding contest. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but defensive backs know that jump ball is coming, and you could tell that time that Brandon Carr panicked a little bit. I'm not even sure the ball ended up being catchable, but because of all the contact, drew the foul.
And it's a jump ball to a guy 6'5", covered by a guy who's 6 feet even. 21-yard penalty. And now a tough 2 yards here for Doug Martin. Let's take a look at the Tampa offense.
Jameis Winston, Florida State.
Doug Martin, Boise State.
Mike Evans, Texas A&M.
Russell Shepard, LSU.
Cameron Brate, Harvard.
Luke Stocker, Tennessee.
Donovan Smith, Penn State.
Kevin Panfield, Purdue. Joe Hawley, Las Vegas.
Ali Morpet,
The Hobart College. Gosder Sherrillis, Boston College.
And offensively, they're in the middle of the pack in just about every category. Overall 14th, 18th in points scored. To the outside and trying to get the first down there is Doug Martin. Very close to it. He thinks he has it. Barry Church runs him out.
You know, it's interesting, this offensive line, I wouldn't say they're the greatest athletes in the world, but I enjoy watching them play, in particular their center, Joe Hawley. This is one of the more feisty guys in the league. You will see him at the end of almost every single play kind of pushing somebody, give him a little nudge, hoping somebody's going to try and knock him out and draw 15 yards. But that little irritant is very much the leader of this offensive line.
Martin came up a little bit short of the first down, so it's 3rd and a short 1 from the 16, and now he has it for sure, going straight through the middle to the 13-yard line.
Well, you get the feeling there's going to be a lot of body blows in this game. It looks like both teams are trying to attack right up the gut and just establish a physical presence in this game.
Halfway mark of the first quarter. 6th play of the drive. They've thrown only 1 pass, that on the first play. Now they give it to Martin again. He was their number 1 pick back in 2012. And let's take a look at the Dallas defense.
Tom Crawford, Boise State.
Malik Collins, Nebraska.
Terrell McClain, South Florida.
Jack Crawford, Penn State.
Damian Wilson, Minnesota.
Anthony Hitchens, Iowa.
Sean Lee, Penn State.
Brandon Carr, Grand Valley State. Barry Church, Toledo. Byron Jones, UConn.
Anthony Brown, Purdue University.
So now it's 2nd down and 10 from the 14-yard line. Winston hangs in the pocket and throws, and that is caught at the 6 by Adam Humphries, missing last week's game. He was in the concussion protocol, and that's a gain of 7, so it'll be 3rd down and 3. They spot the ball at the 7.
Yeah, the 3 wide receivers or receivers you have to think about. Mike Evans, 13, Cameron Brate, their tight end, and that guy, number 11, Adam Humphries. They're the big 3 big drop off after that.
Cutter calls the plays, made his chops as an offensive coordinator. Charles Sims is in the backfield on 3rd down. And Winston fires, and that is knocked down inside the 5-yard line. Intended for Cameron Brate, knocked down by Byron Jones, and Tampa Bay will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
One of the really top-end cover safeties around. He has played some slot cornerback, but typically with his size and length, when he gets on tight ends, he's able to undercut throws like that, and that was a big play.
Now Roberto Aguayo missing 7 field goals, 2 extra points. He's been better of late. Traded up to get him in the 2nd round, so a lot obviously is expected of him over the years. 25-yard attempt, and that one is good. So the missed field goal gave Tampa Bay good field position, and they cash in 3-0. AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Man, time goes by a little quickly here. 8th season that the Cowboys have played here.
It is an amazing place. Come out and walk around and take a tour if you haven't done it.
Old Texas Stadium, just a memory. From the 2-yard line, Lucky Whitehead brings this one back to the 26-yard line. And that's where the Cowboys set up shop for their 2nd drive. Second drive begins at the 26-yard line. Elliott, the running back. Fake to him. Prescott rolling and fires to Witten, and Witten makes his 2nd grab. Forward progress will net him about 8 yards. Tackled by the safety Bradley McDougald. 2nd down and 2.
Just know this, that these 2 quarterbacks are going to be out of the pocket making plays tonight. They are 2 of the absolute best in football, and so much of their production comes off of plays just like that. Make it look just like a run, get the quarterback outside.
And this time Elliott cannot slip to the outside. He is coming up to make the tackle is Javion Elliott, the rookie from Florida State. That's exactly what Chris was talking about. Winston number 1, Prescott number 2 when they get outside the pocket, and there are the passing numbers 1st and 2nd. And in terms of touchdowns, 2nd and 3rd. Aaron Rodgers would be number 1.
And in terms of 3rd down, this is what Cowboys fans are interested in right here. They have to be better here.
3rd down and 4. All kinds of issues over the last 2 games. And this time they convert. He goes to Beasley, who's become his main man. Now the ball comes out at the end of the play, but the play was whistled dead. Down at the 46-yard line, covered by Hargraves, and that's a gain of 22.
Well, they put him in motion across the formation, then slant everybody inside, so it really leaves the rookie Vernon Hargraves all by himself. And already tonight, Al, what we've seen is they've gotten their playmakers going. It was everybody struggling. Beasley was struggling. Bryant was struggling. Just Jason Witten didn't get as many balls. So all these guys now have some early touches to get them going.
And Prescott is 6 for 6. 7 for 7 now. Elliott with a blocker out in front and seeks that 1st down. Zach Martin, big number 70, was there to help pave the way for him.
Can't do it better than that. You get a screen with a blitz coming away and you just hit the screen over here. That's deadly. That's called perfect play calling by Scott Linehan. And you hit on it. Zach Martin out in front is as athletic as most cornerbacks. It's amazing to see him in the open field taking on speedy linebackers and safeties and corners, and more often than not, he does make contact. Most other offensive linemen do not.
Took Quan Alexander out of the play, and for a 1st down, ball at the 35. And Elliott again will take the ball to the 32. Elliott trying to win the rushing title. 2 years ago, it was DeMarco Murray who won it. Then he went off to Philadelphia, now, of course, at Tennessee. And right now, there is a guy, the rookie out of Ohio State, the 4th overall draft pick last April, and he has been sensational.
It's hard to not think of Emmett when you watch him play behind this offensive line. Emmett's great offensive line, and you just sort of begin to draw parallels of what might be.
Emmett in the ballpark tonight. 2nd down and 7 from the 32-yard line. Blitz coming, and the pass has gotten away to Beasley, but he will go next to nowhere. It'll be 3rd down. Elliott covering on the play.
Yeah, and one of the things that everybody in the last couple of weeks have pretty much determined they're going to do is they're not going to let Dak Prescott sit back in the pocket, pat the football, comfortably look around like he's playing 7-on-7 in practice. We have seen the Vikings come after him. We saw the Giants come after him. And so far, so have the Buccaneers.
Well, you heard Jason Garrett at the top talk about he won't blink. All he is 8 for 8. 3rd and 6. Does he make it a perfect 9? He will. That's to Dunbar. So not only 9 for 9 passing, but he has now hit 6 different receivers.
Nice route by Lance Dunbar. And let's take a look at Dak. He's going to look left, come across the middle. Nope, and all the way back. That's when you get that kind of protection. And just a 4-man rush that time by the Buccaneers, you can go across the field and comfortably find those open receivers. Nicely done.
A minute and a half to go in the opening quarter. And he sends Elliott out to the left. Looking that way, under pressure. Reverse spin, fires, and that's his first incomplete pass of the night. Intended for Cole Beasley. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, you see some of the mobility there, and you could tell what Dak was trying to do. It was Quan Alexander who was in the throwing lane, and he needed his receiver Beasley to move out a little bit more. He went back inside, and there just was nowhere to throw the ball. He just needed Beasley to slide with him a little bit, and you saw him as soon as that throw was out of there sort of go, man, keep going, man.
Quick toss, Bryant. And Bryant gets wrestled down, flagged down. This takes it to the 11-yard line.
The face mask, offense number 68. 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It's on Doug Free, the right tackle.
Well, there it is again. They get another tremendous drive going, and looks like they're going to get this one called back. And really no need. Where's the need there? Because you got one of your really talented guys one-on-one with a corner on the outside, but now they're setting up 2nd and long, and these are the kinds of 3rd down conversions and 2nd down conversions they've been having troubles with.
Tony Romo with the headset. Already 3 penalties for 46 yards on the Cowboys. Now a draw, and Elliott will take the ball to the 21-yard line. So a good hunk of yardage there to make it to 3rd down and 15.
But now you have to say, if somebody were asking you to describe this game, right, you'd say the Bucs have not stopped them yet. They had a penalty on the first drive that stopped that one, and they had a penalty on this one. And that's philosophically what a lot of defensive coordinators believe. It's very hard for an offense to go 10 plays without making a big mistake.
And the Cowboys have, to your point, gained 116 yards already. Final half minute of the quarter. Prescott throwing, caught Elliott, and he puts his head down and can get to the 9-yard line, still short of the 1st down. And that should take us to the end of the 1st quarter, meaning the 2nd quarter will start most likely with a Dan Bailey short field goal attempt. And that will be the end of the 1st quarter with the score: the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3, the Dallas Cowboys 0. Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Start the 2nd quarter. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya, Dan Bailey trying to tie the game. Missed a long field goal earlier, and this one from 28 yards. And this drive ends with a field goal to tie the game with 4 seconds gone in the quarter. 3-3. Dan Bailey to kickoff. Josh Huff will take it and down it there. So in the 11 years of Sunday Night Football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been on once. 2008, John Madden actually had the 1 week off. We brought in Chris Collinsworth. Seattle against Tampa Bay was so long ago, it was Mike Holmgren against John Gruden.
All right, now go ahead and throw out the punchline.
Well, the punchline is I think it was the lowest rated Sunday night game up to that point.
And we still miss John Madden, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was great to get a jump start on everything you and I have been doing here for the last few years. And, of course, there's nobody like Big John.
Oh, yeah, watching tonight. He watches every game. Back in Pleasanton, California from the 25-yard line. This is the second drive for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Winston gets hit. Was his arm coming forward is the question. The ball right now is loose, and the Dallas Cowboys are going to wind up with it at the 14-yard line, assuming it stands. Winston having the ball knocked loose. Terrell McLean came in and created it. Was his arm coming forward is the question.
Yeah, that ball was an empty hand moving forward. Hit the backside of his arm, and that ball shot straight up in the air. And here comes McLean around. They brought a safety blitz that time, bringing Byron Jones, and they slanted around, and it just simply got there too fast. You know, it's really interesting is the Dallas Cowboys defense, they don't blitz that much, but their rate of success when they do blitz, very high, and a big payoff right there for Rod Marinelli and company.
They're third least in terms of frequency of blitzes. Malik Collins was the man who recovers it. And now at the 14-yard line, the Cowboys have had the ball almost the entire game, and they give it to Elliott, who swings to the outside. And Elliott will take the ball to the 7. He is some runner. Bradley McDougald makes the tackle, gain of 7, second down and 3, and Elliott has already gained 44 yards in a quarter and half a minute.
One of the untold stories, I think, is this guy right here, Ronald Leary, who has come in and took over for Lyle Collins at that left guard position. A lot of conversation that maybe he would have been traded before the season. A little holdout, all that. Thank goodness for Cowboys fans they did not. He has been sensational since Collins got hurt.
And now he rides Elliott, who takes the ball very close to a first down.
Yeah, I bet you Jason Garrett on the sideline went over there and said, guys, if you just don't hold anybody or don't grab any face mask, we're going to go up and down the field against these guys. And it's so frustrating as a coach when you end up beating yourself on the first couple of drives, then you catch a break from your defense, and what has been winning games for Tampa, all the turnovers they've gotten, and now it gets reversed.
So the Cowboys will run their 22nd play of the game to Tampa's 9. They've had the ball 12 minutes, and Tampa's had it for 4. They come in with Elliott and McFadden. Darren McFadden just activated, sets up as the fullback, and they give it to him, and he takes it to the 1-yard line. He hurt himself in the offseason, elbow injury, had surgery. He was the #1 draft choice a few years back of the Oakland Raiders. He was their primary runner last year. He gained over 1,000 yards, and this is his first action of the season tonight.
Yeah, a good lesson for all of us. He dropped his cell phone and took a dive to make sure it didn't break. Instead, he broke his elbow.
Broke his elbow. They drafted Elliott, and McFadden finally is able to get back in. First down and goal now from the 2-yard line.
And 6 offensive linemen in the game as they continue their power football.
Only Bryant spreads out.
Second charge timeout, Tampa Bay, 30-second timeout.
Well, how excited were the Buccaneers? Here's Gerald McCoy before the game.
We don't get enough recognition. Yeah. Don't nobody know who we are. Why is Mike Evans not getting all the credit he deserves? Why is Jameis behind other quarterbacks? Why is our O-line not talked about like they O-line? And guess what? One game on tonight, and it's us. No more excuses. No more talking. Let's show them, baby.
We're fired up to broadcast it now.
I love that. This team on the field before the game it was almost a college atmosphere. They were goofing, they were having fun, they were hollering coming in and out of the tunnel. I told you, I said, they're either going to blow them out or get blown out. I'm not sure how this one goes. So far, though, they haven't quite caught a break. They need something big here down on the goal line.
Gotta love it. Only one game on tonight, and it's us. First and goal. Can they stop Dallas now? After the turnover, and the pass is dropped in the end zone. Bryant is there. The coverage was by Brent Grimes, the 10-year veteran, came over from the Dolphins.
Yeah, Brent Grimes been playing great. 3 interceptions, 2 in the last 3 games. And what happened, why Tampa called the timeout, their safety, Chris Conte, was out there on Des Bryant. Des Bryant's clapping his hands and begging, throw me the ball, I got a safety out here. Chris Conte called timeout, and they got it straight. Got the cornerback out there, and he made the play.
Grimes had 28 picks since he came in 2009. Been to the Pro Bowl 4 times, including the last 3 years. Second down and goal. Elliott. And Elliott into the end zone. Oh, man. For Elliott, that's his 13th rushing touchdown. Emmitt Smith, boy, he can really appreciate that. And the Cowboys lead it 9-3.
I never saw him jump in the pot, though. Watch this combination block right here. Leary's going to go down, and then you get the reach block. I love watching great offensive lines work together and just carve out that big hole. And then you go jump and promote a very good cause down there in the end zone. Salvation Army. Everybody throw something in because there's a good chance Ezekiel Elliott's going to be in there.
And he got penalized for that because it's a prop. Even if it is for the Salvation Army and it's the fabled Salvation Army kettle, they still penalize him for it. But it'll get a lot of play. Maybe it'll get a few more donations.
Even the officials are laughing, though. I think they appreciated it. It just is in the rule book. And there should be a charitable exemption in the rule book as well.
There you go.
If you're doing something for the good of charity, then that shouldn't be a foul.
Like a tax exemption. You've got it.
Right.
33-yard extra point is good by Bailey. So it was all set up by Winston's fumble. Had the short field. Cowboys cash in, lead by 7. Well, there is Zeke Elliott. He's looking at the board, the big board here, and it was showing him going into the Salvation Army kettle. So
I'm going to guess if there's any fine or anything involved, the Jones family is going to handle that one.
No doubt, because they've been probably the biggest benefactors of the Salvation Army. But the penalty does force Bailey's kick to come from the 20 instead of the 35, unless we'll have a run back by Josh Huff from the 10-yard line.
Whoa.
And he gets taken down at the 21. He doesn't think he was down. Frazier knocked him down. He thinks his knee didn't hit, but it did. And they'll bring the ball back to the 22. One more time. This picture is worth about 10,000 replays.
And probably about $10 million for the Salvation Army.
That would be good. And the Jones family, we were talking about Charlotte Jones, Jerry's daughter, executive VP, chief brand officer. And through the years, I mean, if you watch the Thanksgiving Day game, there's always a lot in regard to the Salvation Army that happens before the game and at halftime. So they keep it rolling. When you're the chief brand officer, what's better than your guy scores a touchdown and jumps into the kettle?
He might do it again.
Right from the 22, fake toss to the outside. And Doug Martin picks up 3 yards to the 25-yard line.
You know, Al, one of the impressive things I think about what we've seen so far out of the Cowboys, there's been a lot of noise around here, right? All week, you know, Dak Prescott, they can't get, you know, third down, they can't do this, should Tony Romo, blah, 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 blah. And they have come out and look like they're having fun out here tonight. They don't hear all the noise, and that's really what they talk about.
Well, play action, the pass is incomplete, leading the intended receiver Mike Evans a little bit too much. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Yeah, there was a lot of noise around. There was noise after the game at the Meadowlands last week. Jason Garrett was being asked, did you think about putting Romo in the game? What?
Yeah.
I mean, did Ben McAdoo think about putting Ryan Nassib in the game because Eli Manning only led up to 10 points and one big play to Bryant or to Odell Beckham? I mean, what are we talking about?
Well, don't get that started in New York.
Right, tell me about it. 3rd down and 6. They spread them out. They go 5 wide. Pressured. And now Winston is somehow able to escape. Throws on the run. And it's one-handed but dropped by Charles Sims. Man, oh man. Vince Mayowa was the guy who was the first one in there. And somehow he's able to escape.
This play looked a little bit like the play in Chicago where he scrambled around and hit Mike Evans down the field. One of the most remarkable plays you'll ever see. Took about 14.5 seconds to do it. But I thought Sims was going to get killed here. I thought Jeff Heath was going to just take his head off. He did pull off. Good for him.
Now Brian Anger started his career as a high draft choice 3rd round at Jacksonville. Comes over this year. And they put the pressure on, but he gets it away, and a fair catch is called for and made by Lucky Whitehead at the 36-yard line. 11.5 to go in the half. 10-3 Cowboys.
Point that you considered putting Tony in the game?
No.
Why wouldn't a relief quarterback work in the flow of a game?
Yeah, we just feel good about where Dak is right now with our football team.
You said that you think Tony may still have a role. Did it cross your mind at all as Dak struggled that tonight might be that night?
No, it did not. No.
So that all took place after the loss last week at the Meadowlands. Cowboys were held to 7 points. Touchdown pass to Terrence Williams. And those are the questions that Garrett and Jerry Jones got after the game as this drive begins from the 36-yard line. And we start here with Whitehead coming around for a gain of 3. You know, we were talking to Prescott the other day, and we're talking about guys that, you know, he talks to a lot. And the first guy he mentioned was Mark Sanchez, who is the number 3 quarterback for this team, inactive tonight. Of course, Mark with the Jets at the beginning of his career led them to 2 AFC championship games. But Prescott talking about the fact he spends a lot of time with Mark Sanchez, who's proved to be, for an inactive guy, a pretty valuable asset to this team.
Absolutely, and when he comes over to the bench, that's where he goes for a conversation to see what did you see.
2nd down and 7, and it's Darren McFadden to the 46-yard line. So this was after the first series. Going over there, of course, Scott Linehan is the offensive coordinator. Wade Wilson is the quarterback's coach, but he's able to talk to Sanchez about various things, and we talked to Dak the other day and brought him up immediately.
Yeah, and it's so great to have a backup quarterback that you feel great about, and nobody would understand that better than Jason Garrett, right? I mean, he was a backup for a long time with Troy Aikman and various guys, and that voice, somebody that can sort of calm you down and just intellectually talk about what's going on out there, is really a great asset.
And we get Prescott, and that's McFadden, who, as we say, just was activated and gets racked up by Quan Alexander.
These 2 linebackers can make plays like this. Watch this. All of a sudden, he's just sitting back there. Quan Alexander, you think he's not really into play, and he can just explode in there to make plays like that. Levante David, the other linebacker, very much like that as well. They're fun to watch. They do miss a few plays, but they are explosive.
20 minutes into the game, the Cowboys have had the ball for 15 minutes. And the Bucs for 5. Dallas running its 28th play on a 2nd down and 12. Good protection. Fires. Witten makes the catch and stays on his feet. And forward progress will get him to a little bit past midfield. 3rd down and 6. And Witten has caught 3 passes tonight.
Well, on the outside, if you want to have a great offensive line, generally it's going to start with a great left tackle. And one of the things that they have going on the outside is because of the fact that the Bucs are a little bit more worried about the running game, they're playing some of their bigger guys like William Golston, who is not necessarily their best pass rusher, but they have to stay stout against the run.
Prescott is 12 of 14, chased out. He's going to keep it. He's going to get the 1st down and a lot more, stepping out at the 35-yard line.
They tried to go with a stunt inside, and what happened, it opened up that edge, as they sent both guys inside Tyron Smith. And Dak Prescott is just so adept at feeling that. You know, great quarterbacks don't necessarily see that. They just feel when all that pressure goes and flows inside. Goes right to the outside for the first down.
Doesn't run all that much, or less than 4 times a game, but he has a 4.5 average. Cowboys good on 3rd down tonight after being terrible in the last 2 weeks, 4 of 6. And now the pass to the 21-yard line is dropped. It's incomplete. Terrence Williams, the target, covered there by Grimes. 2nd down.
Brent Grimes gets a lot of interceptions, and here's how he does it. He's looking back in at Dak Prescott. You see his eyes really don't go to Terrence Williams. He's looking at the quarterback, and the minute he comes back, that's when you see Brent Grimes go. Almost all the defenses for the Buccaneers, everybody in that secondary is looking back in at Dak Prescott.
Empty the backfield on a 2nd and 10. Witten, the tight end, on the right side. He goes over the middle, and the pass is thrown to him at the 30-yard line. Covered there by Keith Tandy. Jason's been around so long that prior catch moved him into 7th place all time. There it is. Jerry Rice way out in front. Tony Gonzalez 2nd. Larry Fitzgerald still going. Marvin Harrison, Hall of Fame. Carter, Hall of Fame. Tim Brown, Hall of Fame. And there's Witten, number 7, surpassing the mark of Terrell Owens, who had 1,078. Lance Dunbar, 3rd down back. 3rd and 5. And Prescott firing, and that's Witten to the 23. So Witten had a long streak of consecutive games where he'd caught a pass snap in Minnesota 2 weeks ago, and tonight he's already caught 5.
Well, anytime you can get a tight end like Jason Witten in motion and get him a free release, let him work that little out and in against a very good coverage linebacker in Levante David. But you can see now the way that Dak Prescott is starting to get the ball. If you start working from the inside out as a quarterback, if you get Jason Witten going, things are going to open on the outside for Des Bryant and company.
And they have tonight. Witten sitting up in the slot. He flares out after looking to block at first, and the catch is made at the 1-yard line. Bryce Butler hauls it in.
That's exactly
the cover on the play. So that's 8 different receivers now for Prescott.
So what happened there? They go hard play action inside, get their quarterback to the outside. They've been working the middle of the field. Now you go bootleg. And go figure, now you've got Bryce Butler out there making plays. So they are distributing the ball across the board tonight. 15
completions to 8 different receivers. The back is McFadden. And Prescott's going to take it in. Touchdown, untouched. Ten plays, good balance, 4 rushes, 6 passes. 2 for 2 on 3rd down, and a 2-touchdown lead.
Wow, you're going to get a little double team there and a single block there. And Al, what do you think? Could you have made it?
Well, that's as big a hole as John Ryan ran through in the Thursday night game on the fake punt.
Wow. I think the Cowboys came out with a little purpose tonight.
Dan Bailey. Jones is hold. Bailey has put up 5 points tonight, 2 extra points, the field goal. How about Mr. Prescott tonight? 15 of 18 for 134. 6:24 to go to the half. 17-3 Cowboys. AT&T Stadium, about a 30-minute drive from downtown Dallas. With not a lot of traffic as the kick is down in the end zone. 6:24 to go in the first half. 17-3 home team. Well, if you just tuned in, those numbers, I think you can figure out who's ahead here. It's 17-3, 15 of 18, 8 different receivers for Prescott. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay has hardly had the ball for 5 minutes out of 23 and a half. And they start this drive from the 25-yard line. Nothing doing there. And Doug Martin gets taken down. So for Jameis Winston, he's actually a year younger than Prescott, even though Prescott's the rookie. 22 years old, overall #1 in 2015. Tampa Bay was 2-14 the year before. Won the national championship on his 20th birthday when Florida State beat Auburn. He was the offensive MVP of the game. 2 years there. He could have, had he opted to, maybe someday been playing across the parking lot with the Texas Rangers play, and that pass is caught up at the 40-yard line by Mike Evans. Like a lot of guys like Russell Wilson, he was a good baseball player as well as a great football player.
Yeah, he could pitch and hit, couldn't he? He was pretty darn tough as they go here to the hurry-up offense.
So they pick up a first down on that pass, and Martin swings to the outside. He gets wrestled down after a short gain by Sean Lee.
Sean Lee is borderline unblockable. I mean, anytime you get this guy, watch offensive linemen trying to catch him. This time it's Kevin Pamfield. They just don't get there, and it doesn't look like anything, but he does it play after play. What do you have, 18 tackles in the game the other day? You thought he was going to make all of them before it was over.
Has not missed a single snap this season. And that's for a guy who's had his share of injury difficulties during his career. Second down and 8. Blitz coming from Skandrick, and the pass has gotten away and into Dallas territory. Mike Evans, former Texas A&M star who caught his college passes from Johnny Manziel.
Nice job here on the left side. It was Jameis Winston who basically caught the blitz that time by Orlando Skandrick, checked out of it, and made the easy completion.
So the Bucs pick up their 4th first down. Now they run a draw. Nice gain here for Doug Martin. Pickup of 6 yards. Takes the ball inside the 40.
Yeah, and so much of what this offense can do, in my mind, revolves around Doug Martin. If they get the running game going, the official just took a dive. They get the running game going, the rest of this will work.
Fake toss. And now Winston's going to pick up the first down and step out of bounds. So they pick up the pace on this drive and looking good so far.
Yeah, the play action numbers for Jameis Winston are really sort of off the charts. 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a 117 rating. But in order to get play action going, you have to run the football. And if Doug Martin returns to the form that we've seen him a few times in his career, you know, he's been over 1,400 yards twice and just getting healthy now after that hamstring injury.
Their leading rusher is Jacquizz Rodgers. He hasn't been in. Ball at the 33-yard line. Rodgers a healthy scratch tonight as Winston fires, and that's caught. To the 10-yard line goes Freddie Martino. And it's the first time he has been targeted tonight. 11 first down.
Nicely done. What they do is they fake the screen and make them believe you're going to just throw the quick one out there. And as people just hesitate, you're able to hit it in the seam going up the field. This is by far the best the Buccaneers have looked.
24-yard gain there. First down and goal now at the 8-yard line.
Whoops.
Take a look at that. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cowboys. It's half the defense is right there swarming, and now a flag comes in at the end.
Boy, David Irving almost took the handoff on that one.
Terry McCauley with the call.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense number 3, headbutt. 15-yard penalty. The down count, second down.
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston trying to protect his guy and comes in and headbutts at the end of this thing and gets the penalty. There he is. He's throwing a block. No problem so far, but as soon as the play's over, Winston's going to lower his head into the back of the helmet there of Malik Collins, and that is a train wreck for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That is their first penalty of the night, and it takes the ball all the way back to the 28-yard line. It's second down and goal from the 28. It's Charles Sims spreading to the right side, so an empty backfield here. And And now you've got a flag, and they're going to whistle that play dead. Benson Mayowa from the right side unabated to the quarterback.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 95. Unimpeded to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Yeah, one of the things that Dirk Cutter talks about with Jameis Winston is you've got to have passion on the field, and that's good. But emotion that gets away from you is something bad, and they talk about that a lot with Winston. That time you saw the emotion, and it hurt his football team.
Controlled passion is what you're looking for. Sims flanking Winston in the backfield on second down and goal. 4-man rush. And then a little dump off pass. Sims, nice move there to get away from Lee and takes the ball to the 16-yard line, where it'll be third down and goal, and that's going to take us in all likelihood to the 2-minute warning, which indeed it does. So 2 minutes to go in the opening half at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. It's Dallas 17, Tampa Bay 3 on Sunday Night Football. Now it's third down and goal here from the 16-yard line. Winston in the pocket, fires, and it's incomplete. It's Adam Humphries who was the intended receiver. Passed much too high. Byron Jones got his hands on it, and they'll have to settle for a field goal attempt.
You know what's really interesting about that is they have two great seam runners going down the field, Cameron Brate and of course Mike Evans. And the one smallish receiver that they have out there is the guy who actually got the ball there, Adam Humphries. So many times with this offense, when you see them be really sharp, it's not necessarily guys wide open. It's just guys getting body position, and Winston throwing it up high to him.
Right, he had Skandrick fronting him. He had Jones behind him. And so Aguayo will try to make it an 11-point game with a 34-yard field goal attempt, which he does with 1:52 to go in the half. Dallas 17, Tampa Bay 6. Well, the Glazer family has owned the Tampa Bay Bucs for a ton of years. Malcolm Glazer passing away a few years back, and his sons running it. Avram and Joel and Ed and Brian have watched this team through thick and thin. And of course, the thick would have been the Super Bowl victory in 2002 in San Diego when they routed the Oakland Raiders.
Big John Gruden and company.
Yes, sir. Gruden coming over from Oakland in a trade.
May see some more of that this year.
The year before, yeah, we're hearing about it. They call it the Ugly Christmas Sweater Shop here in Dallas. Maybe we'll wear those things next week in Kansas City. What do you think?
Or that. Football fans are the greatest.
Right. From the 25-yard line. Hangs in there. Short throw. It's Bryant who gets pushed back. Forward progress will net him about 4 yards. Second down. Clock running down. Dallas has all of its timeouts. Second down, call it 5 now from the 30. Good protection, and the pass caught up at the 44 by Dez Bryant. That's a first down. Clock took it down to 120, 14-yard gain.
Boy, with just Ezekiel Elliott coming out, these linebackers are paying too much attention to him. You've got to get your depth on those drops. They're throwing it right in behind them.
The 44, and that's Jason Witten making the catch. Talked about that long streak that he had as we go down under a minute. He had 130 consecutive games. That's over 8 years worth. Snapped 2 weeks ago in Minnesota. And tonight he's already caught 6.
This offense looks like a machine tonight.
Second down, 5. Catch number 7 to the 43, and now they will use their first timeout, and we will be back in 30 seconds. So that Bucs defense, and that's the reason for their turnaround, giving up less than 13 points a game over the last 5, but tonight already 17 and 238 yards, and the Cowboys aren't done. Now Prescott moving forward, throws, that's caught close to a first down. Bryant making the catch at the 33-yard line, and Dallas uses its
Holding.
second timeout. There's a flag,
Offense number
however.
65. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Don't have to use that timeout. That's Ron Leary costing them the yardage.
And this is what's really been working for Tampa Bay. Robert Ayers, right up there, if I can draw it, is going to be able to take advantage, and him inside has been a really powerful force because you get that speed working in there, and it's so tough on those guards, and he drew the foul there.
So now 1st and 20 back at the 47-yard line. Prescott, and that's caught by Bryant, and that'll be a first down to the 30-yard line. And now the Cowboys will take their second time. You know, on this drive, Prescott, he backs up. He stands in the same place. He hasn't had to move, 2 steps in either direction. Bango, on the money.
Yeah, and here's what's going on here. You get these linebackers jumping the underneath routes here, and you get Dez and company going right behind them. In this situation, at the end of the half, let them check it down to the running back. You don't care about that, but you cannot allow Dez Bryant to work in behind your defense. And because of the protection you're talking about, there's so much time to work in behind those linebackers. Look at that pocket.
Cowboys on a pace to gain well over 500 yards tonight, 261. They've had the ball 20 minutes to 9.5 for Tampa Bay. Can they get on the board again before halftime? And this time he's pressured, and down he goes. So he stood his ground, but that time Levante David came in. And a timeout taken here, back in 30 seconds. Jason Garrett's 6th full season plus a half a season when he took over for Wade Phillips in the middle of 2010, and the 57-year-old Dirk Cutter, Boise State head coach, Arizona State head coach in years past, first year in Tampa Bay. Now Prescott's going to throw deep down the right sideline and 2 deep, intended there for Dez Bryant. So with 17 seconds, it's going to be 3rd down and long.
I tell you, Brent Grimes does a lot of good things on the back end. He really does. He understands. He basically bluffed Dak Prescott into that throw. He looked like he was playing the underneath coverage, but still had plenty of room to drop back underneath Dez Bryant.
Last week, the Cowboys in the game against the Giants, precipitating all of the stuff at quarterback. They gained 260 yards. Tonight, already 255 at the end of the half here. 3rd and 16. And that's caught by Witten, but only to the 34-yard line. So it's 4th down, and Bailey will come in to attempt another long field goal.
Well, you could tell what the thought was there, that they wanted to basically pick up about 4 or 5 yards and make that field goal easier, but there was plenty of room to work it down the field a little bit more than that.
So he made a chip shot field goal from 27, missed the other one from 56. Missed one at the Meadowlands last week from a mile out that hit the crossbar. And this one's from 52. Chris Jones to put it down. And Bailey's kick is no good. And that's kind of man bites dog stuff. Stop the presses when Bailey misses 2 out of 3.
Yeah, well, he's had a bunch of these long-range kicks, and sometimes when you're short, as he was on the first one, what do you do with your driver? You load up a little bit and swing a little harder, and you get that hook going.
So Bailey has been, for a while now, the all-time leader in field goal percentage, but missing 2 out of 3 tonight. We want to send our best to Justin Tucker, the Baltimore Ravens field goal kicker, who just moved in to first place, at least for the moment.
There you go. You know, he is something, too.
Yeah.
I don't think he's missed forever, at least when we've called the game.
Justin's broken into an aria now that he knows that, right?
Yeah, our opera singer.
Over the middle, that pass is caught at the 44-yard line by Brate, the tight end. They finally go to him, and they take a timeout here with 3 seconds, back in a half a minute. And Winston, final play of the half, barring a defensive foul, throws one that's intercepted in the end zone by Byron Jones. He'll take that out of bounds, and that will take us to halftime. Bucs will get the ball to start the second half. Halftime score 17-6. At halftime, the score is 17-6. The Dallas Cowboys on top by 11. And the buzz, Jameis Winston, 6 out of 12, 81 yards and the 1 interception. Meanwhile, Dak Prescott, great first half, 21-25, 191 yards and 8 different receivers. Leading rusher in the league goes into that Salvation Army kettle after his 14th rush touchdown of the year. And that Buck defense, 17 points allowed after allowing a tick under 13 over the last 5 weeks to fuel that turnaround from a record of 3-5 to a mark of 8-5.
Dak Prescott, he's been impressive so far, just under 200 yards passing in this one, but he's been under 200 each of the last 3 games. So clearly a bit of a breakout game here with some home cooking.
Tampa Bay to get the ball to start the 3rd quarter here in Arlington, Texas. Begin their drive from the 25-yard line, and we go to the field in Michelle.
Well, I spoke to Dirk Cutter, and I asked him if Jameis Winston's emotions might be impacting his play, and he said definitely on that 2nd quarter headbutt personal foul. He said Jameis is a passionate player, but that was ridiculous. We can't let our emotions get in the way. And defensively, he said Jason Witten is picking us apart. I know he's one of the best tight ends ever to play this game, but we got to get better coverage out of our linebackers, Al.
All right, Michelle, and Witten has those 8 catches tonight. Not for a lot of yardage, but they keep going to him in pressure situations.
Ready.
And a number of first downs from the 25-yard line. And he did on the ground with Martin trying to thread his way over the left side to the 30.
Well, no question about it. The linebacker play on Dallas's side of the ball has been much better with Sean Lee. He was all over the board here in the first half. We've seen their last couple of games, and he's been doing this for the last few weeks, probably playing as well as any linebacker, not just against the run as some of these have been, but clearly one of the better coverage linebackers as well, and Sean Lee doing it again tonight.
2nd and 5. They toss it to Martin, and Martin with a nice spinorama out to the 36-yard line. Gain of 6 and a first down for the Bucs.
Yeah, and they have to get this going. They had some success going with the hurry-up offense at the end of the first half and trying to come back with a little pace. But if Doug Martin gets going, this is an offense capable of playing. They really have not dropped off during this win streak, averaging about 22.5 points, and they are under par right now.
Well, Dirk Cutter says Winston is at his best play action. Showed you before that he was the #1 passer in the league when he gets outside the pocket. You saw Crawford come off for the moment for Dallas, and the pass downfield is incomplete, a little bit too high, intended for Josh Huff. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, just a bad throw there. I mean, they had what they wanted, the single high safety, and you just have to be able to hit this thing. This is as good as you can get. Safety way back in the middle of the field. Now, I know he's used to throwing some of those big targets down the field with Mike Evans and Cameron Brate, but he missed that one.
So Winston now under 50%, 6 out of 13. 2nd down and 10. There's your play action, but pressure is put on, and he's forced to just sling it into the Cowboy bench. Mayowa and Collins put the heat on that time. 3rd and 10.
Down the field, here's a guy he likes to go to out of Harvard, Cameron Brate, but Sean Lee all over that and taking that one away, which forced the scramble. Look to the outside to Russell Shepard. He was not there, had to throw it out of bounds.
3rd and 10. Cowboys looking like they'll blitz. Back off. And the pass is caught. Mike Evans goes to the ground and somehow is able to corral it. And that'll be good for a first down.
Right on the outside, there's Evans working against Brandon Carr. Gets underneath it and scoops it before he slides out of bounds. Man, finger tipper, but I think he had it.
So up at the 49-yard line as they convert. For the moment, comes out of the game, and then it's Doug Martin who takes the ball into Cowboy territory. Speaking about picking up a first down when you need one, here's the guy who's the leading receiver in the league in terms of first downs on receptions. He has 11 more than any other player, and there was a case in point right there. Made a first down on all 25 third down catches coming in, so exactly what he did in that prior situation.
Not a lot of catches and runs, but big plays down the field where he just goes up and out battles people.
Play action now and outside the pocket. This is caught underneath, and that is Alan Cross, tight end. Anthony Brown makes the tackle, and that will set up a 3rd and 1.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, but when you get either one of these quarterbacks outside the pocket, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And Rod Marinelli is not going to give you the deep ball. So the more time you have out on the pocket, the more time your receivers have to get open.
From the 42, again, play action and outside the pocket and deep downfield, and it's caught on the deflection by Adam Humphries for the touchdown. The pass deflected deep downfield. You had Carr and Jones covering on the play, and they can't keep it away from Humphries.
And you got Brandon Carr, the outside coverage guy right here, and I think he's going to get his hands on the ball and just deflect it. Let's see. I think he did get his hands on the ball, and it ended up right in the lap of Adam Humphries. And remember, that play was 3rd and 1, and I was thinking just run for the first down. Instead, Jameis Winston does what he does, which is throw the ball deep as much as any quarterback in the league. Took a shot and paid off big.
Off play action and outside the pocket.
Well, that was an impressive throw, moving to his left and turning completely full speed, throwing it back in the middle of the field. I don't know how he did that.
Humphries back after missing 1 game, concussion protocol. Aguayo for the point after. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down the field quickly on the opening drive of the 3rd quarter to make it a 4-point game on Sunday Night Football. Well, you talk about a thrill. Yesterday, right here, the Highland Park Scots won the Texas 5A State Championship. Jerry Jones, his grandson, quarterback John Stephen, offensive MVP. Father Stephen, executive VP of the team. Grandpa's here, grandma's here, the whole family's here. I mean, that's about as good as it can get. We had a chance to watch this game on television here yesterday. And here are some of the highlights. Take a look at this quarterback draw.
And they're playing a really good Temple team who had about 100 yards in the first quarter to 1. And yet it was that play and this one. Watch John Stephen power his way in for what turned out to be the winning touchdown. And there you go. There's high school football. There's the proud papa. There's the moment you remember for your entire life. And there's the champion right there, John Stephen Jones.
And maybe he can do it again next year. He's only a junior.
Yeah, apparently John Stephen didn't get home until about daybreak today. I think they had a heck of a party last night.
A few diet sodas along the way. Terrence Williams, gain of 13 first down. We go to Michelle.
Well, yeah, and Stephen Jones told me that at the end of the game, he was melting, just putty and wrung out by emotions. He said, I don't know how to describe the feeling, just pure raw emotion, and incredible that I could be that happy about something.
And that's big time football too. That high school produced Matthew Stafford. There it is. Clayton Kershaw, the great Dodger pitcher. Bobby Lane and Doak Walker. Apart from that, not a lot of guys went there that knew anything.
And John Stephen Jones.
Right, John Stephen Jones.
There you go.
And they had about 35,000 people yesterday afternoon as Elliott takes it for a couple of yards in this stadium where not only do the Cowboys play here, they have a number of college football games, bowl games, and they played 12 high school football games between Wednesday and yesterday.
I just got to say, too, and I know John Stephen's going to get all the headlines and all that kind of stuff, but I love that game. I love high school football in general. There's body types of all kinds out there on the field. And both teams, such incredible passion. It was a great, great afternoon of football.
A great week of football here at this stadium in Arlington as Dunbar makes the catch. Lance Dunbar will come up a couple of yards shy of the first down. We go to Michelle.
Well, I spoke to Jason Garrett at halftime. He said that Dak Prescott has handled everything with such great poise and composure on and off the field that Garrett had no doubt he'd come out and play well tonight. As for Ezekiel Elliott jumping into the pot after his second quarter touchdown, Garrett said he should not have done it, but we allow the Lambeau leap. We allow snow angels in this league. We have to get that rule straightened out, Al.
Yeah, that's something for the competition committee to decide next March. 3rd down and 2 from the 46-yard line. Little toss, Elliott, and then he loses the ball as he tries to give it to Whitehead. Then it is recovered back at the 39-yard line. It's Ron Leary who recovers it.
Very interesting. Tyron Smith here got caught up on Jason Witten coming out around the edge here, and it forced this whole play back a little bit farther, so it sort of screwed up the timing of that pitch. And for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the perfect start to this half. Go right down the field, score a touchdown, get a stop, they're right back in the game.
Chris Jones, who has done a lot of punting over the last 2 weeks, but not tonight. This is his first boot of the evening. Fair catch called for and made by Adam Humphries at the 19-yard line. 6 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Dallas up by 4. $9:01 to go in the 3rd for $12 million. Doug Martin picks up a yard up to the 20-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
Let's go back to Jameis Winston. Here was an opportunity early on. He had Mike Evans down the left side here with an inside technique, exactly what he wanted. But watch his eyes on this one. He looked like he was looking at Evans, but his eyes are back to the right-hand side, and he throws it over to Adam Humphries instead. He had Evans, should have taken him, has come back here in the second half and played very well.
2nd down and 8 now. And Winston has time, fires open, caught 40-yard line. Russell Shepard, but a flag is down. Back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding offense number 74. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Ali Marpet, second-year guy out of Hobart, who's a great young guard, but not on that play.
Man, watch this takedown here. Ali Marpet, who is their best offensive lineman, the right guard, going to catch Crawford coming across, and then this is something out of the Olympics. Yeah.
3-point takedown.
Man, WWE right there.
Yeah. And that negates a long gain and makes it 2nd down and 18.
And a great throw by Winston on that one.
Good protection again. And another fine throw. And that's up to the 29. And that's Shepard. So Shepard, who had his first catch of the night, negated by the penalty, they go right back to him, and he picks up 19 yards when he needed 18 in a 1st down.
Now the Bucs are starting to do what everybody was doing to them in the first half on the Dallas Cowboys offense. Just try and get the attention of that underneath coverage with those backs and tight ends, hit it in behind.
Whoa. And then, is that caught? What a play. Cameron Braid with Sean Lee all over him is able to haul it in. Great catch.
Man, what a catch. Can't have better coverage than this, and watch him just barely get inside Sean Lee, barely saw the ball and hauled it in.
It was almost past him. Now Winston fires to the outside, juggled, incomplete. Intended for Humphries, looks around for a flag, and there is none. Covered by Scandrick, 2nd and 10.
Well, I have a lot of respect for Orlando Scandrick. Here's a guy that really has not been healthy for so long. But look at this one-handed catch. Even Sean Lee with his hand in there. And the Harvard tight end got it done.
Up to the 47-yard line. 2nd down. Go to the ground again. And this time it is Charles Sims for a gain of 8 yards to the 45, to Dallas's 45. It will be 3rd down and 2 as Cutter sends in the next play.
Nice job by Ali Marpet getting up to that second level to make that play. Right down there.
Tampa Bay going no huddle again. Winston rolling out to his right. Throws on the run back across the grain. That's caught by Braid, and Braid gets tackled from behind to the 25 by Byron Jones. So Braid has been silent until now. 3 catches for 52 yards. That's good for 22.
I tell you, Jameis Winston is an exciting quarterback to watch. He is not a low-risk quarterback at all. He's taking some chances out here.
Out of the outside comes Sims, and he'll get taken down, tackle for loss by Benson Mayowa. Having a nice game tonight. 2nd and 14.
Mayowa really has come in and stepped up his game a lot. 4 sacks now in the season to be a complimentary guy to Tyrone Crawford and some of the other pass rushers inside. He's been hot, but so is that guy. Jameis Winston has taken over this game here in the second half.
6 of 12 in the opening half, 6 of 9 here for 120 yards. So he's up and over 200 for the game. He and Prescott about even in that department right now. 2nd and 14. Straight back and then over the middle, and that's hauled in and taken to the 10-yard line by Mike Evans. So a great drive that started back at their own 19-yard line, and they run 8 plays, 71 yards.
Now they're getting to those seam routes because they're playing an outside technique with their corners, funneling everything back into Sean Lee, and yet because of this hurry-up offense, they're starting to hit those gaps in that defense now, and Dallas getting a little tired.
1st and goal from the 10-yard line. Here's Sims dancing around, can go nowhere. That'll make it 2nd down and goal.
Well, I tell you, when you pick up the pace on the Dallas Cowboys defense, so much, and we've seen them a lot here lately, so much of what they do on defense is about hustling, non-stop hustle to the football. But if you can get them trapped with that no-huddle offense out there on the field and they can't substitute, it really works to your advantage on offense.
And they're missing 2 key parts tonight, DeMarcus Lawrence and Cedric Thornton. That doesn't help.
No, you're missing 2 defensive linemen, so that rotation is very thin. Great point.
2nd down and goal from the 10. Winston has time, fires, and it is caught for the touchdown by Cameron Brate. Cameron Brate. Into the end zone he goes. 7 touchdowns for him this season, and the Tampa Bay Bucs have taken their first lead.
Look at what the safety does. Byron Jones, that's a funnel coverage. They're trying to funnel him back inside to the middle, lurking linebacker in the middle, thinking he can make the plays. But they're throwing it right around that time, Anthony Hitchens, for the touchdown.
Tampa Bay had a 3-0 lead early. Dallas then had 17 unanswered points. And back come the Buccaneers. Brate with 3 catches for 49 yards and a TD on that drive. And Aguayo with the conversion. So all of a sudden, 4:12 to go in the 3rd, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trying to make it 6 consecutive wins, up by 3 in Arlington. So who are the last 3 Ivy League players with 6 or more TDs in an NFL season? Brate, who went to Harvard, has now caught 7. Calvin Hill, saw him tonight. Started with Dallas and then finished with Cleveland in '78. Calvin, who went to Yale, had 7. And Steve Jordan, the great Minnesota tight end, had 6. So a 3-point lead for the Bucs. Kick will be run back by Lucky Whitehead. Back to the 20-yard line. 4:08 to go in the 3rd. There's another Ivy Leaguer, the Princetonian, Mr. Garrett. Now, this drive starts with an Elliott burst through the middle up to the 26-yard line with 4 to play in the 3rd.
Terrific first half for Dak Prescott, and he has certainly been helped. With this protection, he can go through multiple reads, 1, 2, and come back to number 3. Very seldom does an NFL quarterback get past number 2 on the reads, but you give him that much time, watch his footwork. His foot, it never changes. It's always about that far apart. He's always on balance, up on those toes. And when he gets ready to fire, he fires shots in there.
Elliott has now rushed for 57 yards. How many more here? Nice little hurdle move. A lot more. And out of bounds, he's forced at the 45-yard line. Talked about in high school, state champion in the hurdles, and he loves to use that move.
It's just fun to watch, isn't it? I mean,
Great.
And the great thing about it is he doesn't over hurdle. You know, sometimes if you get too high, one thing you find in the National Football League, if you're in the air, somebody's catching you because you can't fly as fast as you can run. And there he is as a state champion in John Burroughs High School in Missouri. 4-time state champion, I think, that year.
14 carries, 77 yards for him tonight. Straight drop by Prescott, slams to the outside. Coming back to hold it in, we'll see about forward progress, is Terrence Williams, and they line it up. It looks like he's going to be about a half-yard shy of the first.
Yeah, Terrence Williams was terrific against the Giants a week ago, had their touchdown, and 5 for 76. He's only had one drop this entire season and 35 different targets coming in, so he's had a nice year. Sort of the forgotten guy in this offense. Everybody's talking so much about Cole Beasley and Des Bryant and Ezekiel and Dak.
And Jason Witten. So tonight he's caught 3. Quick toss to the outside, and that's Bryant. Gets a block from Williams, and he's able to pick up a first down, but is frustrated he didn't gain any more. Brent Grimes makes the tackle, ticking down to 2 minutes to go in the quarter. First down, Dallas.
Well, the pace of this game has just quickened, hasn't it? At the end of the first half, you saw Tampa Bay get into their hurry-up offense, and Dallas now is starting to pick up the pace with his passing game as well. This one might end up going back and forth for a while.
3-point game. Numbers are pretty even in a lot of categories now after Dallas had been dominant in the first half. Ezekiel Elliott takes the ball to the 37.
One of the guys that you've got to take care of. Let me see, where am I? Right over here. You're going to end up with Gerald McCoy trying to get penetration. And if you get it between those big horses, you know you've gotten something done. That Gerald McCoy, along with Aaron Donald, 2 of the best defensive tackles in all of football.
McCoy has been to the last 4 Pro Bowls. Darren McFadden now in the game. They flank him. And Prescott is slinging to the outside. Finds Beasley, who does a toe dance down the sideline to pick up some extra yardage. And it's a first down with 1:01 to go in the third quarter. That's a gain of 17 yards.
Yeah, watch this matchup right here. This is Gerald McCoy against Ronald Leary. I told you Leary's been having a nice year. And I think McCoy is a little tired. This pace has slowed him down. Really not much of a movement there against Leary, who stands his ground.
Only 4 incomplete passes tonight off the hand of Prescott. Half-minute left in the quarter. They give it to Whitehead, and Whitehead gets slung down. What a play by Robert Ayers. Came over from the Giants. He's had a nice year, and he smelled that one out from the beginning.
Robert Ayers is a tremendous player. They don't even block him here. They're just going to hustle out, and he's going to shoot the gap. And why would they draw a play like that? Because defensive ends can't make that play. Whitehead usually runs right by the unblocked guy, and then you've got 2 blockers out in front. But Ayers was too quick and too smart.
And that is the end of a very rapid third quarter. Tampa Bay 20, Dallas 17. Sunday Night Football back after this. Back to Arlington. We come second down and 17 now for the Dallas Cowboys as Prescott is forced out of the pocket. And turns around the corner and gains a few yards there, chased out by Robert Ayers. So it was second and 17. He got 5. It'll be third down and 12.
Yeah, staying with that 4-man rush. So that means they have 7 back in coverage. And there's the coverage down the field by the rookie, Vernon Hargraves. There's on Beasley underneath by another rookie, Javian Elliott. And then inside on Elliott, or on Jason Witten.
Third and 12. Clearly in field goal range, which would tie the game, but Cowboys have other ideas.
They really have single coverage on Des Bryant. No safety help that way, and it looks like pressure.
Play clock at 2. Prescott throws. And Witten's going to make the catch, and he cannot advance it any farther there as Quan Alexander holds him up, and that's going to set up about a 40-yard field goal attempt to tie the game.
Nicely done by Mike Smith. It looks like all pressure coming here, but then they end up dropping out of it. So some of the things that they might have had down the field had to simply dump it off. That was a nice call.
So Bailey now, who has missed from long distance twice and made a 27-yarder, sets up from 40 yards out. And that one is straight and true. 13:31 to go in regulation. 2020.
I'm Jameis Winston, and this is my football life. I've been playing football since I've been 4 years old. Football has played a huge role in my life as far as having something to do, making more friends, and just creating different family. I love football because it's the ultimate team game, and it gets guys to come together all for good and for their successes.
Overall #1 pick, still only 22 years old, wrote a letter to his teammates and then read it to them at midseason. They were 3-5, and then he read it to them after they had knocked off Chicago to start the winning streak.
But wrote it before the Chicago game,
right,
thinking they were going to win, and they haven't lost since.
5 straight, trying to make it a franchise record 6. Josh Huff running the kickback and takes it back to the 25, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Al, Jameis Winston was in middle school when he started this QB notebook, filling its pages with everything from a list of quarterback characteristics like leadership, desire, and mental toughness, to the reminder, a part of being QB is know the situation of the game and formations and routes that work best against a cover 2 defense. His notes suggest the double out and stick switch work. Winston told me, when I started playing quarterback, I wanted to be the best at it, and I took it seriously. Al?
Well, he was 10 years old when he put that into the notebook.
Man.
And right now, a guy who started every game in his rookie season, of course, every game this year, had a great third quarter, and this time he gets sacked at the 18-yard line. David Irving. David Irving plays maybe 40% of the snaps or so, but boy, he can make his presence felt.
Watch what he does to Gosder Shirtless here. David Irving is going to throw a right hook right here. Almost a hump move we used to see out of Reggie White, and he occasionally can take over games. He had a game against Green Bay earlier this season. I think he played about 20 plays in that game, had 3 forced fumbles and a sack, and a lot of them looked just like that.
He can do a lot of damage in a very short period of time. 2nd and 16. And that pass is caught by Sims, and he can't go anywhere as he gets tackled at the 20-yard line. That's Justin Durant making the play. It'll be 3rd down and 14 for the Bucs.
So much of the damage that we've seen from Jameis Winston here tonight have come out of the pocket. Watch this throw for the touchdown. I still can't believe he got this ball there. Moving completely full speed to his left, turning and going back about 46 yards for the touchdown, and that really jump-started their comeback.
3rd and 14. Crowd at full volume right now. 4-man rush, and the pass is high and intercepted at the 40-yard line. Jeff Heath takes it back to the 21. Pass sailing, and David Irving helped to create that by putting the heat on the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not so sure David Irving didn't get a piece of that ball. Let's take a look. Coming off the edge here one more time. Does he get his hands on the football? Hard to tell. Just hit his elbow as he was releasing it and made the ball sail. And David Irving, as he did against Green Bay, is turning things in favor of the boys.
The Cowboys have only 6. Make it 7 now interceptions with 2 in this game. And that's Heath's first all season long. 7 picks. Again, a short field. They cashed in on one earlier. Ball at the 22-yard line. Elliott 2-yard pickup.
It's amazing the Buccaneers are even in this game. The turnover margin is now 3-0 in favor of the Dallas Cowboys. And really, this has been a Tampa Bay team that has just thrived on the turnovers. In their first 8 games, they were a -3, but during this winning streak, a +9. And tonight, that ratio is going the other way.
2nd and 8. They bring Lance Dunbar into the game in the backfield. Now split him out. You get 5 receivers. Prescott fires, caught inside the 10-yard line. To the end zone goes Lance Dunbar. Flag down, however, at the 27-yard line, and it's coming back.
Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Tyron Smith, the left tackle.
Pretty hard to argue this one, I think. Take a look. Noah Spence, who's that speed rusher, gets him around the neck and drops him. That one hurts because they got Dunbar out there one-on-one on the linebacker, and it was no contest.
And Terry McCauley, you saw him in the background. He had a clear shot at that. 86 yards in penalties tonight. And of course, that's the most impactful one to this point. 2nd and 18.
Say it again, what has been hurting their 3rd down percentage and so much of this offense has been those kinds of penalties.
Underneath, nothing happening there. He goes to Des Bryant for a very short gain. 3rd and long.
I was talking with Mike Smith, the defensive coordinator, and he said the big change in this defense is they've learned how to communicate. They started going into the film room and the coaches were not allowed to talk. They would force these guys who are kind of quiet sometimes to communicate like they would in a game, and from that moment on, they won 5 in a row.
And he thinned out the book as well. 3rd down and 14.
0 for 4 on 7 or more yards here.
Let's go up Elliott. He can take it to the 20. Well shy of the 1st down, setting up about a 38-yard field goal attempt to give Dallas the lead.
It's so frustrating as a head coach, as a quarterback, to take that check down right there. But you have to. You can't turn it over. You have 3 points on the board. You have a chance to take the lead. The big penalty got him again.
Bailey 2 out of 4 from 38 to try to seesaw the lead back to the Cowboys, and that one is good. So with 9.5 to go in regulation, 23-20 Cowboys. Yard in. And Josh Huff gets corralled and swarmed at the 14. So the playoff picture right now. Dallas has clinched the playoff spot, but not the division title yet. Seattle has won the West. Atlanta leading Tampa Bay right now in the South. Detroit leading in the North. That's going to get wild there, of course, with the final game of the year against Green Bay. The Giants and Tampa Bay at the moment hold down the wild card spots. But if Tampa loses tonight and Washington wins tomorrow, they play Carolina, then Washington would move into that position, at least for the moment. So a lot going on in both conferences.
Illegal substitution. Defense, 12 men in formation. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Making it a 1st and 5. Zach Moore was the 12th guy.
Yeah, a guy just activated late because of some of the injuries to Cedric Thornton and DeMarcus Lawrence. Probably just didn't fully understand the rotation, but that's a good jump start for Jameis Winston in this offense.
And now you have Doug Martin picking up 3 out to the 23, tackled there by Sean Lee. Martin tonight averaging less than 3 yards per carry. It's been the story for him this season. 15 attempts, 43 yards.
Yeah, and really one of the differences in the game, because Elliott has about the same number of carries and 83 yards.
Winston forced at the spot, and that is knocked away. And David Irving, mentioned him before, doesn't play, I think maybe less than half the plays, if I can recall correctly. But boy, when he is in there, he is unbelievably disruptive.
Just watch the move here on Joe Holly, the center. You know, he's just angular, and he has a way of just sort of Spider-Manning around blockers, and he is just taken over here late in the game.
Rod Marinelli, defensive coordinator, 3rd down and 2 from the 23. And that pass may have been deflected as well, and was. Justin Durant came in. Bucs looking for a flag, don't get one, so big defensive series as Durant got a hand on it. So Irving put the pressure on 2nd down. Durant deflects it on 3rd down, and the Bucs have to punt.
A little trick defense that time. They bring Durant thinking that that little hot throw would be there. Sean Lee hustled underneath, and Durant got his hand on the ball. So they started off 1st and 5 after that penalty and cannot pick up the 5 yards.
Brian Anger, this will be his 2nd punt of the game. His first was 38 yards. Flag is down. Whitehead takes it at the 33 and loses yardage on it. Get the call here from Terry McCauley. A little jostling going on. Football is family.
During the kick, kicking team, prior to the kick, holding team kicking team number 43. 10-yard penalty added to the end of the play. 1st down, timeout.
Dallas with the ball, leading by 3. Prescott now dancing and looking, and throws underneath, and then is caught by Witten, and the ball comes loose. The ball is loose at the 45-yard line. Jason Witten lost it. Bucs all think they have it. To be determined. The way Frederick gets up, I think they do.
Juan Alexander with a shot, and he got it out.
He did. Off Jason Witten. And Jason Garrett can only shake his head as Witten fumbles for only the 2nd time in the last 5 years.
And these 2 linebackers combined for a big hit right on the ball there. Quan Alexander, and it's interesting that Quan Alexander learned how to study film from Sean Lee. This offseason, he called Luke Kuechly, he called Sean Lee, wanted to know what they saw, how they saw things, what they did in studying. And that time comes back to work against Jason Witten.
After his 10th catch of the game. Now at the 45-yard line with 8.5. And that'll be Doug Martin taken down behind the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 11. And he hurt himself. That's Benson Mayowa having a really nice night, but has to come out at least for a play.
Sure is. He's going right through as Doug Martin comes in, and he just simply ran over offensive lineman out there for the Buccaneers.
8 minutes to go in regulation. 2nd and 11. Lee shows blitz. He's coming. Dump it off to Sims. And he will get taken down at about the 40-yard line by Byron Jones. So upcoming a big 3rd and 5.
Big disappointment on that play. They had him. They had the pressure off that side. They had Sean Lee on a blitz. They had blockers in front, and all the blockers missed. Pressure, dump it out, blockers for everybody, and they missed all their blocks.
Durant has come out, favoring his right arm. That's DeMarcus Lawrence. He's inactive tonight. Injury. 3rd and 5. Sims in the backfield. Deep drop. Winston then throws, and that one floats incomplete. Intended for Russell Shepard. So the Cowboys give up the ball on the fumble and then stop him in midfield, and they will bring in the punt group.
Hugely disappointing there. They blew 2 opportunities, and for Jason Witten, a little sigh of relief. I tell you, Rod Marinelli's defense will not quit. I don't care if they've been on the field for 400 straight plays. They fight them all.
Anger sends it with backspin down toward Beasley, who lets it go. And Tampa Bay is going to down it inside the 5-yard line. Great kick. Ryan Smith downs it there. But Dallas gets the ball back, having held Tampa. So it's 1st down for the Dallas Cowboys from the 4. And this is Elliott. So, Chris, the night begins with one of those, phony quarterback controversies in the minds of some. Not really, but, some people were talking about Tony Romo. There is a huge quarterback controversy, though, in Texas.
Yeah.
But it's in Houston, right?
Oh, man, that's right. A little benching.
I mean, today the Texans were trailing, I think, by 13 against Jacksonville. And Brock Osweiler, the $72 million man, comes out, and Tom Savage
led the comeback.
And meanwhile, we've got an injured Tampa Bay Buck. Injured Buck was William Golston. It's an arm injury or elbow injury, and they take him right back to the locker room under his own power. Ryan Russell, second-year guy out of Purdue, comes in. Meanwhile, McFadden now in the game. Split 4 receivers. Keep Witten in on the left side at tight end, and Prescott in the end zone fires, caught 20-yard line, and that's Des Bryant to get him out of the hole up to the 24. 1st down, tackled by Bradley McDougal. 19 yards.
Going to end up working in right in behind here, and I think that's Darryl Smith, the linebacker. You knew it was going to be a zone defense, and because of the way they're taking the running backs and flanking them out, if it's not a linebacker going with the running back, they know it's a zone, comes right back to the zone beater there.
Prescott is 31 of 35. Big hole. Elliott off to the races. Into Tampa territory, and finally forced out of bounds by Keith Tandy. And that will take Elliott up and over 100 yards by plenty. That's 40 yards.
What you're trying to do is get to this linebacker, and when this double team can push him back into that linebacker, you come up with big plays. Exactly what happened. Doug Free, Zach Martin drives him back into the linebacker, and there goes Zeke Elliott.
That's 124 yards on 18 carries tonight to the Tampa 34. Use a little bit of clock here. And Elliott, look at Elliott taking the Bucs with him for what might be a 1st down, if not inches shy. 1st down.
I know everybody has their own opinion, and Big Emmett probably does as well, but he has to be flashing back here a little bit. And the conversation's going to be about Rookie of the Year. Dak Prescott's been terrific. For my money, it's clearly Ezekiel Elliott. I think he has been unbelievable. My only question, does he manage to fight his way into the MVP conversation as well?
Well, there's no question he's there. Look at that look on Emmett's face. A little bit of flashback there. Darren McFadden is in the game. They give it to McFadden. I tell you what, that's a pretty good backup running back. When your backup running back is a 1,000-yard guy from the year before, and your backup quarterback is Tony Romo, you got a little bit of depth.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of 1,000-yard rushers around here lately as well with this offensive line. So when this group gets it going, when this offensive line late in the game gets that kind of push going against a defensive line that now is missing one of the key components. Remember, Golston was one of the guys they felt like could stop the run. He's out of the game, and they're attacking hard now.
Second down and 10. Prescott on target. Beasley makes the catch. Gain of about 8. 32 of 36 now. And Elliott does a nice job blocking on that play.
I think Dak Prescott's going to go into the press conference after this game and say, any questions?
Oh, you think Jason will get a question about, you think about bringing Romo in?
Never know.
You're right. Some goofball will ask it. Not tonight. Third down and 2 at the 16. Toss to Elliott. Oh, he thought about hurdling. And he's going to come up short here. It's going to be 4th down and 1.
I like the job by Dak Prescott there, seeing that Bears front right up there, and he checks to the pitch, which is exactly the right call. Just a little short. And now, no matter what happens here, the Bucs are still going to have one final chance.
Well, they're going to keep it to a 1-possession game, assuming you don't have a fake here. You have a 33-yard field goal attempt to try to make it a 6-point lead. So Bailey, this is 6th field goal attempt of the night. 3 out of 5 from 33 yards. And down the middle again. So 2 ticks under 3 minutes to play. 26-20 Dallas. Back in 30 seconds. .258 remaining in the 4th. Tampa Bay looking to head all of its timeouts. You can order holiday gifts from NFLshop.com. Get a free shipping offer from the official store of the NFL, and there's your website right there. AT&T Stadium opened in 2009. Dirk Cutter going over things with Jameis Winston. Can he lead them to a comeback here?
It's really all you can ask as an offense. You're on the road playing against a team that has the best record in football in their place, and you get one final drive to try and go win it.
Josh Huff waiting in the end zone. And Bailey's kick. Huff tells his guys, I'm not coming out with this thing. They'll start the drive from the 25. What a drive that was started back at the 4-yard line by Dallas, but here was Tampa Bay earlier.
Yeah, here's the screen pass. They had blockers for everybody and didn't block anyone. Ended up having to punt on that series, and it led to that drive to give them a 6-point lead. Any kind of block by either one of those guys on that play, they at least get a field goal, would have tied it up.
Instead, down by 6. Start this drive from their own 25-yard line. Big number 95 is in the game. David Irving, hard to get him out right now. What a force he has been. Oh, and there he is again, the 15-yard line. I mean, you just see him in the game and you go, wait a second. I think they were trying to double him too at one point. Forget about it.
And the backs help. So you end up here and here, going to go out and block one guy, and they can't get it done. Remember, Gosder Sherrillis, the backup right tackle, DeMar Dotson, not in the game, and it is killing the Bucs right now.
Second down and 18. Irving again. This time they are able to get him off to the side. Pass intended for Cameron Brate, but he put the heat on again, and it's 3rd down and 18.
So now a different strategy by Gosder Sherrillis. He's going to try and go get him early, jump out of his stance and get out there and get him, and that didn't work either. Even a hands to the face didn't do anything.
Right, could have been a penalty. 3rd and 18. They bring Leonard Wester in now in place of Sherrillis to see if he can block Irving. They take him out of the play, and then Winston goes deep downfield, too deep. Intended for Mike Evans.
Had him. They had him. Little out and up, and they had him. He was open. He's going to go out to the out cut, right up the field. Byron Jones steps inside and just overthrows it.
Got past Carr. Of course, they have to punt here and take their timeouts on the other side of the ball. They have all three plus the 2-minute warning. Lucky Whitehead back to receive the kick off the foot of Anger. Fair catch called for and made by Lucky Whitehead at the 30. So the quarterback comparison tonight. Winston had a big third quarter. Nothing doing in the first half, and spotty here in the fourth quarter. And of course, Prescott, he's throwing a lot of short stuff, but what can you say? 32 out of 36 for 280.
Buccaneers only got one turnover on the night and could not take advantage of it. That was the one that came off the missed blocks on the screen pass. So now they're going to have to make a big defensive stand. Pretty much one first down now if they burn all the timeouts. It's all Dallas will need.
Prescott has also rushed for a touchdown. They bring a fullback into the game. Keith Smith, he leads the way for Elliott, and Elliott's going to take us to the 2-minute warning with a first down to the 45-yard line. Keep feeding me, he says, and they fed him tonight for 22 carries and 152 yards. 2-minute warning. Cowboys up by 6. So Tampa Bay has to stop them and use their timeouts. And this is Elliott, about as tough a guy to stop as there is right now, taking it to the 49-yard line and timeout. So tonight, Prescott, what is 32 out of 36? That's 89%. 280 yards. It would be the second highest completion rate in NFL history for guys who've thrown 30 or more passes. We actually did a Monday night game in the years when we were at Monday night with Freddie and Drew and the gang. It was the 500th game of Monday night. Freddie, what year was that? 2002. Rich Gannon that night. 34 of 38. Slightly eclipsing the percentage for Dak Prescott tonight.
Now here at the end of the game, it's been the offensive line and defensive line taking over. But a big part of this game was the Cowboys spreading everyone out and letting Dak Prescott pick them apart, which he did in the first half. And he has proven a lot here tonight. And I think he was a little upset with all the noise he was hearing.
Second down and 6. And Elliott, he's going to get wrapped up. You know, we talked to him the other day. Obviously, everybody now says, you know, when there's noise, we say we don't listen to the noise outside the building. Well, yeah, you can say that, but when everybody is calling you and texting you and, you know, I mean, you can't avoid it all.
Well, and what really made him mad was people were texting him, "Are you all right?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I'm all right. If you quit listening to all that noise, you'd be all right too." It really bothered him that people thought that somehow he was going to be shaken by some bad press. And all he did was come out here and respond.
Well, part of it, too, was Jerry Jones talking about Tony Romo, and maybe there's something down the line. You know, but everything that anybody says, especially Jerry Jones, is going to get parsed to the nth degree. Now, what do you really mean by that? What's happening? What's really going on?
And what's really going on is this game isn't over if they don't pick up this first down.
Third down and 3. Tampa Bay still with one timeout. Prescott stepping away, and then he's going to slide at the 50-yard line. So a timeout taken now by Tampa. They're going to get the ball back without any timeouts. And the punt will try to pin them inside the 10-yard line.
And Dak Prescott smartly did not throw this ball down the field. They had a lot of people back in coverage. Your defense has been playing well after a couple of drives by Tampa Bay. But there is plenty of time left on this clock because they got the first down on the very first carry. didn't burn any of the timeouts, and now they still have 1:43 to go.
They got the first down on the first carry, and that was the 2-minute warning. They're able to utilize all 3 here. And now Chris Jones, who hadn't punted very much until the last 2 weeks when he's punted like every 8 minutes, will send one skyward for only the second time in this game. And a fair catch is called for and made at the 11-yard line by Adam Humphries. So can the Bucs go 89 yards in 96 seconds without a timeout?
Well, as you advised before the start of the last drive, you better figure out a way to block David Irving. And they tried to chip him. They tried putting a tight end to that side. But somehow, some way, 95 has to get blocked here if you're going to start this drive.
Cowboys 3 leads surrendered on 15 fourth-quarter drives when the opponent had the opportunity. So they've held them off 12 times. They bring Leonard Wester, the rookie out of Missouri Western, in place of Cherilus to try to take care of Irving. Irving comes around the corner, but Winston gets it away, and that's going to be a first down up to the 22 to the tight end Cameron Brate.
Wasn't pretty, but good enough by Wester. Winston drops deep and now steps up, and that was good enough.
5 catches for the tight end Brate tonight. Passes into traffic and incomplete. Tried to go to Brate again, who's their leading receiver on the night. Bracketed there by Church and Byron Jones, 2nd and 10.
So what else can you do? Let's leave a back in there. We're going to try and double team this guy. Nicely done that time by Sims to step up. And remember, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers love those seam routes. They have big receivers and Brate and Mike Evans that can get down the middle of the field, go up above the safeties, and make some catches.
Sheila Church has to come out of the game, at least for the moment. Winston buying time. Look out from behind. Down he goes. Was the arm coming forward again? Jones is there for the Cowboys. It's going to be ruled as a fumble. Who wound up with it? And Tampa winds up with it.
Yeah, but the clock is also winding up right now.
Absolutely.
So you got to get off the ground and go get back at the line of scrimmage.
That's a recovery by the Buccaneers to make it 3rd down and 12 at the 20, but a ton of time just went off the clock. Almost 20 seconds. And Winston fires, and that's incomplete. Again, David Irving is a monster getting into the backfield. It's 4th down.
Yeah, and it cost them a first down there. Here comes Irving back inside here. And if Jameis Winston had another half a tick a second, he was going to have his guy Evans wide open in the middle of the field. Nice move. There he was, first down. And he did not have time because of Irving's rush.
Evans starting to fall down. So it comes down to this. It's 12 yards on a 4th down, where the Dallas Cowboys will win their 12th game of the season. Tampa's winning streak will be snapped. Winston buying time, looking downfield, fires into traffic, and it is at the 50-yard line. Orlando Scandrick. Interception to wrap it up. And who do you think was in the face of Winston at the end?
Well, there's our guy right over there. Pressure one more time by David Irving, and then Jameis Winston really underthrew this ball. And I don't know exactly what Dirk Cutter was upset about, but when they came up to the line of scrimmage, he was like throwing his guard down and upset. Somebody messed up the formation, or exactly whatever it was they were supposed to do. Oh my, and they can't call timeout, obviously.
And one kneel down will take Dallas to 12-2, but they still haven't clinched the NFC East. They have a 2-game lead on the Giants. Dallas has Detroit coming in next week. Dallas only has to win 1 game, but if they lose 2 and the Giants win 2, the Giants have the tiebreak. But the Dallas Cowboys come up with a 26-20 win at AT&T Stadium.
Remember the David Irving was signed off the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. Here's a guy that was available to the entire league, and he simply took over the fourth quarter of this game.